Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Roofing Contractor Best of Success podcast show. I'm Roofing Contractor Editor-in-Chief Art Eisner, and I'm really glad to be joined today by NRCA CEO McKay Daniels. Hi, McKay. How's it going?
Buddy. Great to be with you, Art. Great to be with you.
Great. Before we jump in, I do want to thank ABC Supply for sponsoring this conversation. McKay, we're live at the show floor at IRE 2023. Talk to me about what you've seen on the floor, the energy here at the show. How are you feeling on about this show right now?
Oh my goodness, what's not to talk about? This show demonstrates for sure that the industry is back. We've moved forward through a pretty rough couple of years, but this is a testament on any metric, any measurement. Everything's bigger in Texas, and Dallas certainly proved that to be the case. I hadn't seen crowds like this in a very long time, and the vibe and energy coming from both exhibitors and participants has been really remarkable. Getting the roofing family together for these couple of days has been a really special moment from the NRCA perspective, especially our awards ceremony that we just had last night, where we're able to honor some of the legends in the industry, some of the best of the best that have done a lifetime's worth of work, and those at the other end who are just getting started, still in college, and they're doing competitions to demonstrate, their chops and what they have to offer, as well as folks that are giving back in their local communities. It's a really special night to be able to recognize all of the good that the industry has, and that was just one of the events. There, you could go through each night, and there's multiple events that folks have a lot of fun, do a little good, and are able to do it together, which is really special.
And what have the folks in your booth? What have they been talking to contractors about at NRCA?
Well, NRCA's got a lot of programs and projects underway, workforce being a significant one, and trying to continue to raise that professional bar, to raise the standard of the industry, to have the installers, the foremen, the superintendents, all the way up, recognize the professionalism that this industry has to offer and the importance that it plays in people's lives, people's homes, companies, the entire economy. I often say that the foundation of this nation is not in the ground, it starts at the roof level, because anything that's valuable or needs to be protected or preserved and taken care of comes with the roof, and that's what each and one of our professionals provides. And it's really exciting to have that carry through, and you hear it in people's voices, you hear it in the conversations that are going on. There is a pride and a camaraderie and an excitement that is really hasn't been there like this before. The energy level's off the charts.
And obviously, education is always a big part of what the NRCA is all about, and sure. This is a big avenue for that too. Can you talk about some of the education that either you've seen or participated, or that you've seen contractors participate in?
Yeah, the educational programming at IRE. You can get a master's class in roofing just in a few days, and there's so many different speakers, whether they're from NRCA staff, experts, or members or not. The manufacturing community and other contractors bring a wealth of knowledge and information to this event. And I just left a meeting where the conversation was about that. The crowds in these education sessions were overflowing in a lot of cases, larger than even anticipated. To have a 7:45 in the morning education class, have dozens and dozens of people in it after some good times the night before, really says a lot about the quality of the programming that we've had here these past couple of days, and the interest in the roofing community in continuing to better themselves, their companies, and the industry. The
industry's hungry. That's
a good way of putting it. Yes, the industry's hungry.
They're ready for that. Let's switch gears a little bit. Another big part of the mission is Roofing Day. Of course, that's coming up. Talk a little bit about what you're looking forward to for that.
Well, likewise, Roofing Day is a project that NRCA started a few years ago, but it's not an NRCA specific event. It's an industry event. Rough attendance is about 50-50, contractors and manufacturers, distribution, folks from across the industry coming together for a few days in Washington, D.C. to talk about the important issues of the industry with our elected officials. Having spent a decent amount of time in Washington, I'm still recovering from that, but having still seen it from that perspective, it's vitally important that folks show up and tell their story. Every industry in the country has lobbyists, activists, and that type of thing, and that's important. But telling that personal story and having that personal connection where a member of Congress can learn about a contractor's issues with workforce or a manufacturer's issues with supply chain and materials and the macro economy. It's vitally important that we come together and unite to tell roofing story, and that's what Roofing Day is all about. So yes, if you haven't registered, it's coming up here second week of April or third week of April 18th and 19th in Washington, D.C. You can learn more at nrca.net. But if you haven't been, I think I haven't heard from anybody yet who came away from Roofing Day saying, that was boring, or I regret going. Everybody finds it both interesting, educational, and a lot of fun because, the community getting together, we have a good time.
And it truly is a unique experience, something that I think the roofing community doesn't really obviously get to do very often. Right. And it is interesting to see roofers kind of gain their voice, or at least learn about the opportunity that they have a voice and a message. Much better when it's cohesive and speaking with that one voice, right?
Without a doubt. And your phrasing is perfect on it, of gaining the confidence to tell that story. There's been instances where folks, kind of come in a little shy or sheepish of, what do I have to offer? A big senator, marble hallways and things like that. Little old me, what I don't belong here. What it doesn't compute. But they come away with, it does matter. They need to hear from us. In a vacuum, our story is left untold, and that's bad for the individuals, that's bad for the industry, and we have a compelling story to be told and important relationships to be made. Because if you think that what happens in Washington doesn't affect you, you are gravely mistaken. It'll affect you one way or another. It's just a question of whether we're there advocating on our own behalf or not. And if we aren't, nobody else is going to. So we absolutely need to do it.
And having been entrenched in those political battles in DC like you have, are there a couple specific issues you want to see the roofing industry really address this time?
Well, workforce is a macro issue. As we've come out of pandemic and supply chain crises, and largely, the supply chain has normalized. What we're finding is that old issue, it never went away. Right. It still persists, and it's more critical than ever. So workforce and career and technical education, I'll call it parity for the trades. It's something that I've been talking about a lot lately, since the last Roofing Day, actually. The amount of attention, funding, promotion that goes into four-year colleges versus the skilled trades and activities where people work with their hands and you don't need a four-year degree, it's 100 to 1. And in an era where every contractor here at IRE is looking for workers, most of the manufacturers and distributors are looking for workers, it's frustrating to see Washington and society pushing just almost one path to the exclusion of everything else. And that's going to take time to continue to educate elected officials, but I'm confident we can do it. We're already making progress, but increased funding for workforce and technology training, a rational, sane immigration policy that doesn't. People talk about the potential for harming our economy. Our economy is being harmed right now because of our poor immigration policies, not the other way around. If we were to be able to change the dynamic, and I make no illusions that that's an easy task given how the country is today, but at some point the dam will break, and we need to be there and have already laid the foundation and had those conversations with people so that we're able to capitalize when the moment comes. Because at some point it will come. The fever dream will break, and they'll address this, and we just need to be prepared when it does. But even more so than specific issues is, for me, the relationship building of that local contractor, from a suburb of Dallas, visiting with their local congressman and having that connection. And the gold standard for me is then that person saying, hey, you should come back to my shop and meet my team, tour my facility, learn more about our company. And we have that happen, a few of those takeaways each roofing day, and that's when the real magic happens, because you can really solidify that relationship.
All right. Well, you mentioned it before. Where can people find out more about what NRCA is up to?
NRCA.net. It's a revised website. Go and take a look at it. It's streamlined, cleaned up, and Roofing Day, like we talked about, coming up here in just a couple weeks in the third week of April. Hope you'll be able to join us.
All right. Thank you, McKay. And for everyone out there, please come back to roofingcontractor.com for the latest news and information that's impacting the industry. Until next time.